Okay, gang, welcome to our 2025 little studio tour and primarily the gear, because that's what I know you guys want to see, and talk a little bit about the stuff and just show you where we're starting 2025 and where we're kind of starting off the year. I'm going to walk you through the audio and the video side of this and how I record the videos, because some of you have asked me about that. So we're going to do all that in one video, and you can go check out all the previous studio tours that we have. So as we're walking into the room here, here's kind of what we see. Let's just start with the SSL, and then we'll get to the console, then we'll get to the gear. So if we start, we're still running the SSL, as you guys know. And this is the SSL Origin, the 32 channel board. I've had it now almost 4 years, pretty much trouble-free. Runs as good as it did the day that I got it. We had one problem with one of the insert points on channel 12, which I have to replace a switch. But aside from that, everything runs really great. Uses 5-6 days a week, and it runs. It just runs like it's supposed to. So it runs really well. It sounds great. I love it. This is the heartbeat of the studio, is this console, even much more than the gear. The console is where all the sound is. As far as, let's see, well, the monitors here, as you know, I'm running Focal. I'm gonna get used to this gimbal here. Here we go. Focal Trio 6s, the ST versions. I bought those last year. Awesome monitors, absolutely love them. I've been using Focals for many years. These are the best monitors I've ever owned, for sure. As far as the screens go here, we have a 55-inch LG OLED TV as my main monitor, which is great for editing and such. I really love that a lot. And then I have a secondary screen up here. This is a BenQ monitor. This I use primarily for just a second screen, and for when I'm doing Zoom meetings and stuff, I can put people up on that screen. It's nice to have that secondary monitor. Something brand new, speaking of the monitors and the video side of things here, this I just got a couple of months ago. This is the Elgato teleprompter, which hooks up to my camera here right on the lens. And this is great for when I'm cutting YouTube ads and stuff for the channel. To have a teleprompter and being able to read a script is really great. I've never done that before. The end of 2024 is the first time I ever really tried anything with a teleprompter and scripts. I was cutting some Instagram ads and some YouTube ads for the website and stuff, and being able to have a script in front of you is really great. And you look directly into the camera, and it just works perfectly. So if you're into making YouTube content, you need to read from scripts from time to time, this Elgato prompter is really great. As far as my video cameras go, people ask me all the time about the video. So we have 3 cameras on this SSL, actually 4, but 3 permanent or stationary cameras. Right here, the one hooked up to the teleprompter. This is a Sony a6600 is what I use my 3 cameras. When we get up to the above the SSL, where you guys get to see, again, sorry if it's a little dark in here, but there is the second a6600. That's hooked onto an arm that's attached to the stand that this big TV is on, and that's what gets over the top of the console when you see me go to that shot during, in the courses or in a YouTube video and whatnot. Then we have a third camera over here. This camera, again, is an a6600, a Sony. That is for the other shot that we have. So all 3 cameras are Sony a6600s. So there's one above the console, and then one over there by the teleprompter. So that is that's the 3 cameras that we use. And then the 4th camera is usually over here. Over here, when we're filming a piece of gear. But that's that's another camera that I have, another Sony a6600 that I use when I need to film gear. But the other 3 always stay at the console all the time. As far as, let's go over here quickly, and then up here, just so you can see it, I have another monitor up here, and that monitor is for it's hooked directly up to my video switcher, which you can see here. I think you can see here. Let me zoom in a little. You'll see camera 4 and 5 is the DAW. And this way I can look right up to my right when I'm sitting in front of the console, and I can see what's going on as far as video goes. I can see myself in the camera and all of that stuff. So let's see here. What else? Okay, so the next part of the video portion of this is over here. Let me just kind of using this gimbal here. Okay, so we have the A10 switcher by Blackmagic. This allows me to hook up up to 8 video sources to this system to record all the videos and all the training courses. We're only using 5 of the 8. What I like about this unit, it's called the ISO, or the ISO unit. So not only does it record my audio from both my voice and from the SSL on 2 separate audio channels, but it also records all 8 video cameras as separate files, so I can edit everything in post. So that's what that is. And you don't ever see this on camera because it's kind of sitting below the height of the SSL, so you never really see that on camera when I'm working. Down here beneath that, we have the Rodecaster Pro 2, and that is for really serves 2 purposes. So my microphone that is sitting on top of the console right over there, my Lewitt mic, that Lewitt microphone is what captures my voice over there, and that goes directly into the Rodecaster Pro on channel 1, and then out of the Rodecaster it goes into the ATEM here, into the switching unit. And then also 2 channels off of the console come to channels 3 and 4 on the Rodecaster, and then that output goes to the video switcher as well. So what I like about the Rodecaster for creating content and videos, sorry about the shaky camera here, is that I can balance with the faders the volume of my voice versus the volume of the console, which is helpful. And then there's also an SD card in that, so I can record backup safety audio. So if the audio from here gets all screwed up for some reason, I always have a backup of both my voice as well as the console itself. So that is helpful as well. And that's how I kind of record the video. So microphone SSL come into here, goes into the video switcher, all 4 cameras, including the screenshot of the DAW goes in here too, and that's how I create and capture all the video. Next to that, we have a fader port, single channel fader port that I use for automation with the West Audio NG levelers, which we'll talk about in a bit. So that is the video setup. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm sure someone's gonna ask, that is the SSL UF1. I use transport for the DAW, and then I'm using the Lewitt Ray mic for my voiceover stuff. And then that is sitting on an Elgato, oh come on now, an Elgato mic stand. And then next to that is the Trinoff, the Law remote, which is my master volume for my monitoring system. We'll talk about the Trinoff in a bit. Hey there, friend. I hope you're loving the video. Guess what? We're now in 2025, and I have some super exciting news to share with you. I'm officially accepting new clients for mixing, and I'm on the lookout for talented artists just like you. Head on over to mixingmusicanalog.com. The link will be in the description box below to check out some of my latest work. Once you've had a look around, shoot me an email and let's schedule a Zoom call to chat about your music and how we could take it to the next level. Now let's get back to the video. All right, so now if we head on over to the rack, let's start at the very top here. So most of this stuff has video. Come on now, come on. Got this new gimbal and I'm trying to get used to it. Okay, up top, we're gonna start with the audio-scape decomp. Love that compressor. I use it primarily on parallel drum bus right now, but I've used it on our parallel drum crush bus. I've used it on regular drum buses before, really good. I'm gonna do some more experimenting with that this year. Underneath that, we got the Warm Audio W1AB, which is the CL1B clone. Love it on lead vocal, love it on snare drum quite a bit. Love that a lot. That's a really great piece. Underneath that, we have the Neve Master Bus Transformer and the GameLab Audio Empress EQ. Reviews on the channel for both of these pieces. The Neve Master Bus Transformer sits on the Master Bus, and the Tube EQ, the GameLab Audio, that Was doing master bus duties for most of last year. I recently switched it to drum bus, which I really like, because on the master bus we're using the Stam Audio stereo Pultec, which I love on the just love it on the I just love it on the stereo bus. That's an amazing EQ, great EQ, love that a lot. So that's what we're using, and now the Empress is going to go into drum bus duties. But I'm going to be able to do some experimenting and try some different things coming up this year in a little bit more of an easy way, and we'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about the patch bay. Underneath the Stam Audio, let me just sit down here for a minute. We have the API, whoops, sorry about the camera work, 5500 EQ. That was on drum bus for a long time. Now it's on pretty much electric guitars. Distorted electric guitars love API, nice different flavor from the SSL EQ. Then we have a 500 series rack with a couple open spaces on the left-hand side, and then from left to right, we have the West Audio RIA. Love that on acoustic guitars and pianos. We have the SPL de-esser and then a DBX de-esser. And then next to that, we have 4 of the E-Series dynamics, the SSL, which I don't use all that often, but every time if I need an extra compressor on something, I'll use that, and I like them, they're great. And then I got another empty space down there that can be filled later on. Beneath that, we have the audio-scape AS78. Again, review on the channel already. I use that a lot on overheads and on rooms. 260 VU by audio-scape. I use that a lot on pianos, background vocals, primarily where I use it. Underneath that, we have the audio-scape EQPA. I use that on lead vocal primarily. Let me just tilt this down a little. Then we have the audio-scape V-Comp, a lot of audio-scape gear here, and the LA2A or the Opto comp, again by audio-scape. Let's see, come on. I hate this gimbal. I should just use my GoPro, right? Trying to get used to it. Anyway, the V-Comp I use on bass a lot. LA2A I use on bass a lot. And I also use it on vocals quite a bit. All right, let's swing over to the other, rack up here. A couple of pieces of gear which we got to put into the rack. This is the RSC Audio Stereo Varimu, the VMU-1 MK2, or MK1, excuse me. We did a video on this on the channel, myself and David SJ, go check that out. Underneath that, we have the GainLab Audio Governor compressor. Again, videos on the channel. I got to do another video for that. It's a great compressor, a lot of fun, nice tube compressor. Underneath that, we have a couple of distressors, electric guitars, snare drums all the time. DBX 160As, those are a pair of compressors I don't use nearly as much as I thought I would. So I don't know if I'm going to keep those, but right now I have them in the rack. We'll see what happens. We may do some more experimenting with those in the future. Let's see. Then underneath that, we have another 500 series rack. Again, we have a couple open spaces here. Trident 80Bs. I don't use those nearly as much as I used to. I might be selling those. Next to those are the Cappy LCR25s, which is an API thing. I really love those. Next to that is the Neve 551 inductor EQs, which I thought I was going to sell. And then I recently used them on some snare and kick drums, and I really love them. So I think I'm going to keep them for a while. And again, do some more experimenting with that. Then I have the, let's see, the solid state Pultec, the 500X. I use it on bass all the time. And then the West Audio Dione, which I use on a whole variety of things. Underneath that, we have our 4 Switchcraft patch bays, which we're gonna be doing something a little different with patch bays, I think, this year. We're gonna be doing something with flock audio. By the time you see this video, we might have gotten the flock in here, but there's probably no videos yet. But anyway, it's going to be nice to have, we're getting the big XT version, which is 192 points in and out, which will cover 99% of everything that we have here. And we're going to try that, because one of the things that I want to be able to do a little bit better is experiment with gear and set up hardware change and experiment with different pieces of gear where I don't have to keep coming over and repatching things all the time. And that's one of the advantages, or actually the largest advantage to the flock. You don't have all the cables. I'm not so worried about the cables, but I really want to be able to have the ability to just switch on and off. So If I want to have, you know, a pair of EQs on a vocal and then set that, and then have that same vocal with another pair of EQs and A/B back and forth, I want to be able to do that. I think having that flexibility and having that, that ability just to do that right from the sweet spot and never have to come over to the rack is going to allow me to experiment more with gear and maybe get better use out of some of this gear. Because sometimes, you know, you kind of go to your go-tos, kind of like your plugins, right? And then you get lazy and you don't want to keep coming back and forth over to the patch bay. So anyway, we're going to do some work with Flock Audio. We're going to try it out, and there will be videos on the channel for that. You can rest assured of that. Underneath those patch bays, we have, we look a little bit here. We have the Stam Audio 609, the 33609. I was using that a lot on parallel drums. Now I'm using the D-Comp, but I've recently used it on a mix on an electric guitar bus, and that was really cool. Underneath that, we have the audio-scape LA3, acoustic guitars, electric guitars, lead vocals. Sounds great. Then we have the 3 1176s. We have the, come on now, get back here. We have the 76A, 76F, 76D. Use those on all kinds of things. Let me kneel down here. Then we have down here, let me get this back in the center if I can. Oops, there we go. Now we have the Reverb, the XL305 by AudioScape. Again, that's hardwired into the console, and I use that every single day. It's a great spring reverb. I love that thing. And they make a plug-in now of it too, which is really good. But that's a really great unit to have. Then we have the West Audio NG bus compressor, which I've been using on drums primarily since I bought it. But again, now once we get the Flock in here, to be able to switch that out, try it on a master bus, try it on different things, and just move some of this gear around is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have fun doing that. So that's the 2 racks. If we start at the bottom here on this rack, let me just do this. Okay, let me zoom in a little. Here's our 6 power conditioners. For all the gear in the studio, the first 5 are for all the hardware. The 6th one is for the console and for the monitoring system. Above that, we have the Galaxy 64. We have talked about that. I did a video on that. That handles all the I/O in the studio, and I've had that now about, by the time you see this video, maybe just under a year. Haven't had any problems with it. I love it. Sounds great. I did a whole video on why I bought it. Go check it out. Above that, we have the West Audio NG levelers, which is what gives me the 32 channels. There's 16 channels I/O on each. Each one of those is put on each individual insert of the 32 long faders on the console. So we have post-processing, automation, post-compression, post-hardware on every single channel if we want it. Again, video on the channel, check that out. Then if I come up here, let me just come up here and, okay, we have the Mac Mini M2 from a couple of years ago. Runs great, 16 gigs of memory in it. It's just a regular standard old Mac Mini M2. Runs great. Above that, we have the Opto satellite box for the UAD plugins. And then next to that, we have 2 OWC Thunderbolt docks, which gives me some expansion for the Mac Mini, so I can hook up external hard drives and all of that stuff. Then we have the Trinoff Nova, which we've talked about before for all the room correction. Gotta love the Nova. And above that, we have a drawer where we keep, what do we got in here? Let's see. What do we have in here today? We have console tape, remotes, all that stuff. Last piece we have here is again, there's a video on the channel. This is called the Mammoth by Zombie Recording low-end shaping unit. That's a fantastic unit. Go check out the video for that. I love that thing. I was so happy to work with those guys, and I got a really good deal on this for doing some videos. And man, this thing is great. Again, we're going to do more videos on this, trust me. And above that, we have a rack here. And you say, well, what is this empty rack for, Dave? This is going to be for the AudioScape Fair Comp, the Stereo Fairchild, which is coming sometime end of February, early March. It's going right in there. And we're going to have to move the Joe Bonamassa record and the Eddie Van Halen guitar, but we're going to get a 670 right in there. There will be tons of videos on that. And that is the whole studio, all the studio, the rack, and there it is. So we got tons of gear in here. And like I said, some of this gear is going to be I think we're going to experiment with some stuff, and then we're going to ultimately scale down a little bit. Before I sell any of the gear, I really want to be able to again, I'm really excited to get this Flock Audio patch-based system. Again, to be able to set up in the software a bunch of hardware chains and just flip back and forth and see what I like and what I don't like will really make it way faster to experiment with this gear and learn where it works best, where you like it, where you don't like it, what's going to be most effective, and ultimately what am I going to use versus what am I going to maybe get rid of. Yes, you can do it now with the regular patch bay, but you got to keep coming back and forth, right? You got to come back and forth from the sweet spot. You got to wheel your chair over, plug something in. Then you got to go back to the sweet spot. You know, you can't A/B anything. You could take it in and out with the insert point, but you can't compare one hardware chain to another without wheeling back and forth. And after you wheel back and forth to the patch base a couple of times, you lose perspective on what you just heard before you repatched everything. So having the Flock Audio is really going to help that. So that is our January 2025 tour. We'll do some more tours during the year as things change or whatever. Again, sorry for maybe some of the poor video here with my new gimbal that I'm trying to work on with the iPhone. Such a pain in the butt. But anyway, we have a video here. We have something here. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And also, again, go to mixingmusicanalog.com. Links are in the description box if you want to learn more about my mixing and mastering services. And if you want to have your music mixed with all this wonderful gear, stuff sounds amazing. I'm telling you, there's nothing like this. This is not plugins, baby. This sounds way different than mixing in the box. If you want a sound that's unique to make your music really stand out and you want to have your music mixed on an SSL with some really amazing gear, contact me at mixingmusicanalog.com. Leave comments below and let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys in the next video.